So we have, so if G has n elements, then each one has k elements, means the number of such subsets, the number is nck. So what we do here is, in script M, each subset has, each one is a subset of G, right, which has got MP power alpha elements, already we have mentioned. And so how many such elements, I mean, how many elements that the script M will have? By this discussion, it should have MP power alpha, CP power alpha elements should be present here. So this is the first step that we have. Script M is introduced. So that is the first step. And then having got a set, we don't have any structure for script M. Remember, it's only a collection of subsets. So we don't introduce any, see, in algebra, when once you see a set, you will have definitely three things happening. One is you may define a mapping, or you may establish, yes, someone has joined. You may define a relation, right? And then, or you may define operation. Only these three repeatedly, when you see anywhere, whenever any set is, any sub collection or any set is introduced, what they do is either they will try to define a mapping between that set and another set, or between the same set, if the domain and codomain should be the same. So on that set itself, they can define a function, or on that relation, they may define a relation. On that set itself, or some relation may be defined, and check whether it's an equivalence relation. Okay, so these are the define some operation and check whether it becomes a structure. So in this case, of the three, this is taken. They are defining a relation. Relation, two elements are related. How they are related? Provided I can find an element G in G such that when I consider M1 G and M2, they must be the same. Or M1 must be equal to M2G. M2G means, see, if you have, you're already familiar with this HA. In HA, you need to have H to be a subgroup. But when you just see H as a subset, the meaning of this is the same thing, small HA, product, right? So it is, if you have, so then when I consider this H unity, I have to treat this as a member of G, and then I know what is the product of these two. I don't have any operation defined in M1. M1 la dhaan operation kadayadu, ana G la operation is there. So when you simplify that, if you get, see, what do? I consider some element G. Okay, suppose I name it as say M1 and this is say M2. Then what do I do is, with M2 I operate G, say. With M2 I operate. So what will happen? Each element, when it is multiplied by G, it will give rise to another set of elements. So if that collection and the M1 what you have already started with, if they are the same, means it need not be in general. If it is the same, then what do I say is these two are related. These two are related. So I may have one G dash in G, and when I perform, this is say M3, when I perform the operate, I mean, when I consider the product M3 G dash, if I don't have M3 G dash to be equal to M1, my M1 and M3 will not be related. So the relation is defined in this way. If I have two subsets, they are related provided one is equal to another one multiplied by an element in G. So this relation, first we are going to prove that it's an equivalence relation, and then we will have equivalence class. Then we'll have to talk about the equivalence class. So that gives that is given in the second claim, and then this one, it is the new collection, sub collection that we consider in G. All those X in G for which M1X is equal to M1. Here it is different. M1 is equal to M2G. Here M1X. All those elements which satisfy this condition. இங்கேயும் M1 தான், இங்கேயும் M1 தான். So M1 X is equal to M1. Whenever you have elements which behave in this way, you collect them all, call it as H. And claim 3, we are going to prove that H is a subgroup of G. And then in the fourth claim, order of G is n times order of H. Where n denotes whatever here we have introduced, that is our n. So this one that we are going to claim, and finally the h whatever I have introduced here will be of order p power alpha, so that I can conclude my Silas theorem, which states that whenever P bar alpha divides order of G, then G has a subgroup of order P bar alpha. So this is, here you are introducing H, and that you prove to be a subgroup, and that is of order P bar alpha. So this one, this definition, and this and this. So you may think only these three are main, of course, but we cannot directly conclude everything without the help of the previous discussions. So yeah, this is the out sketch of the proof. So now we will start actually the proof of the first part of the Silas theorem. Let P be a prime number and let P bar alpha divides order of G. So this is given to us, which means order of G is some integer times P bar alpha. Take that integer as M. Now again, I may have my M and P to be relatively prime or M and P to be not relatively prime. So here what they considered is they are not relatively prime. That is why you are having a factor P bar R. Suppose I have M having a factor P bar R. That is, suppose P bar R divides M. And P bar R plus 1 does not divide M. Right? See in the notes, when you see this does not divide symbol, it would have come over here. So that is print mistake. So this should not come. It will be printed like that, but actually it should have come here, right? So so P bar R plus 1 does not divide M. P bar R divides M, right? So now you consider all those subsets of G having P bar alpha elements. You have G, and in that you consider those subsets where each subset has, so you put them in one collection, call that collection as script M. Each one has P bar alpha elements. So you don't have any structure for script M. It is only collection of subsets having P bar alpha elements in G, right? Now, since P bar alpha divides order of G, G should have a subset of order P bar alpha, right? So, subset, okay, we can have order of P bar alpha dividing order of G. So, script M is non-empty, right? Now, subset தான் சொல்றாங்க. So, subgroup thing, it doesn't, they don't speak about that. So, you can definitely have a subcollection having P bar alpha element. That is always possible. So you have script M to be non-empty. Now by the above discussion, this should have NCK elements. N is here order of G, and K denotes P bar alpha. So M P bar alpha, C P bar alpha elements will be present in script M. Now we are going to define a relation tilde on M. How are we defining? M1 is related to M2 if there exists an element G in G such that, now the question, should I have M1 is equal to M2G? Can I not have M2 is equal to M1G? Yes. Both are. That is why we are going to establish that this is an equivalence relation. Symmetry will say yes to that question. Right. So my first claim is tilde as an equivalence relation on script M, which means I have to establish reflexivity, symmetry, and transitivity. Reflexivity means M1 should be related to itself. So if M1 is to be related to itself, means M1 should be written as M1E. Is it true? It is always true because E is the identity element. E is identity element in G. So even though we have not mentioned it, it is always true. E usually denoted unless otherwise specified. In a group G, E stands for the identity element. So for symmetry, so because this is always true, my M1 is related. Every element for every M1 in M, this is related, that is related to itself. Then for the symmetry part, you assume that M1 to be related to M2. So which means your M1 can be written as M2 into G, right? Then you consider M2 as M1 G inverse. See, G is present in capital G for which inverse exists. So you consider this, then from this, you will have, you will not have each element to be equal to, but as set they are equal, right? And then transitivity, so because of this, I can conclude that M2 is related to this, in fact implies that M2 is related to, that is missing, M2 is related to M1. So that proves the symmetry. M1 related to M2 means M2 is related to M1. This is missing, that you take down when you take down the notes. And then transitivity, we shall assume that M1 related to M2 and M2 related to M3. So which means M1 is M2G and M2 is M3G prime. So what we do is, we will substitute this M2, which is M3G dash, in this. M2 is M3G dash, so we shall substitute. So what will happen? M1 is equal to M3GG dash. Even this, when you look at the study material, here there will be something wrong. This 1 and 3 would have interchanged its place. So that correction also you have to make. This one and this one, these are missing in that. So make a note of it. So whenever you sit in for the class, just have a pen and paper. Wherever the mistakes are pointed out, make a note. When you write the notes, you incorporate all this typos. Right. Now, as G is finite and M is, so that part is over. We have proved that M1 is related to M3. Okay, M1 is related to M3. GG dash you can treat as some other say H. Above, by the definition, you will have these two to be related. So even transitivity holds. You have even transitivity to be true. Right. So with that, the first plane is over. It's an equivalence relation on script M. Now, having got equivalence relation, we can talk about the equivalence class. So for one element, we shall write out what is the equivalence, how my equivalence class would be. Right. Now, G is finite. So for any M in script M, I can consider the equivalence class of M, and we shall denote the equivalence class like this. And because my G finite and this class G finite means script M is also finite. We have said that already. The order of this is MP power alpha, CP power alpha. So that we have already mentioned, right? So this is also finite. When this is finite, this being a subset, and that will also be finite. So we shall take the equivalence class of M to be M1, M2, and so on, Mn. Remember, each one is a subset. Each one is a subset, because in this, whatever you have will be subsets only. And when you consider equivalence class of M, it is a subcollection of script M. It is a subcollection of this. So how your this one behaves, in the same way only class M will also behave. So you have your class M consisting of N. Let me call order of this to be say N. Abdina, any N number of elements will be which is of this form will be there in class M. Class M la M1 etc. Mn elements irkum. Right. So this we are going to use for the second claim. Now the second one says that there is at least one M in M such that order of equivalence class of M is not a multiple of P power R plus 1. So order of this we have taken as N. That is what we have mentioned here. Order of class M is N. Why it is true? Because this is present in class M, which is finite. This has to be finite. And equivalence clasesல இருக்கக்கூடிய எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாமே சப்செட்ஸ். ஏன்னா உள்ளுக்குள்ள இருக்கிறது அத்தனையுமே ஸ்கிரிப்ட் எம்ல இருக்கிறதெல்லாம் சும்மா எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் they are all subsets. So you have in this all the elements to be subsets only. So the number of elements in this we are taking it as N. In this claim, this we are going to use later. That is why we are claiming here this P power R plus 1 does not divide N. So this statement goes like this. Simply you will mention like this. Elaborately you have there is at least one M in M such that order of equivalence class of that M is not a multiple of P power R plus 1. So it's not a multiple means it doesn't divide. If it doesn't divide means this is how we denote. P power R plus 1 does not divide N. So on the other hand, I assume, so we assume the contrary, arrive at a contradiction. That is how the claim is established. So suppose P power R plus 1 does not divide, it divides this. Now சொல்ல வேண்டியது P power R plus 1 does not divide N. Suppose I assume the contrary, P power R plus 1 divides N. What is N? Order of equivalence class of N. For each M in M, what we have said is there is at least one. There is at least one. When I assume the contrary, how I will present it? Suppose for each one divide, say. Then the contrapositive statement of this will give me the claim. Now, we have this equivalence relation partitioning script M as disjoint equivalence clauses. So the union of them Okay, the union of all this will be, so union of all the equivalence classes, union of all M some arbitrary, right? So order of script M will then be, union will become, order போடும்போது union will become summation. Each one is disjoint, அதனால intersectionல இருக்கிறது வராது. So you have summation, this is script M, mu இருக்குது, that is script M. So this is another correction, M belonging to script M of this one, right? Now this order of script M, இப்போ ஒன்னொன்னும் P power R plus 1 divide ஆச்சுன்னா என்னுடைய order of script M, which is the sum of all this, will also be divisible by P power R plus 1. But that's a contradiction. As already we have mentioned that P power R plus 1, P power suppose is put, P power R divides M, P power R plus 1 does not divide M. So as a consequence, from using this, M எப்படி behave பண்ணுதோ அப்படிதான் MP per alpha, CP per alpha will behave. So because of that condition, I will not have my P per R plus 1 dividing this, it should not divide, but இங்க என்ன வந்திருக்கு, divide பண்ணுதுன்னு வருது. So we get a contradiction. So why that contradiction arose? Because we assumed that P per R plus 1 divides order of class M for each M. So there exists at least one M for which this. So this part, let me repeat, each one order of class M is divisible by P power R plus 1 means the whole lot is divisible by P power R plus 1, which means this is divisible by P power R plus 1. The order of this is MP power alpha, CP power alpha. So what I actually get is P power R plus 1 from this step. P power R plus 1 divides MP power alpha, CP power alpha. That is my conclusion. But that is not true because of the discussion which we made already. So this is true. But what I am getting here is this. So it's a contradiction. எப்போதுமே contradiction எழுதினீங்கன்னா contradicting what அப்படிங்கிறது எழுதணும். So hence P power R plus 1. So my claim holds. P power R plus 1 does not divide N. Now comes our hero, that we need to construct our H as those elements of G which satisfy this property. M1x is equal to M1, right? M1x is equal to M1, right? Should it be only M1? I am restricting for H this. Suppose I consider sig K. I have another one. So for which I may associate some M2. So like that. So only for M1 should I have concentration? It is not so. You can have. So you consider, we for discussion's sake we consider one subgroup. So let H be all those elements of G which satisfy this property. M1x is equal to M1. We are going to show that this H is a subgroup of G. Remember, our G is finite. So any subcollection, see, we know that this is non-empty because M1E is equal to M1, always true because E identity element, H subgroup, so E belongs to H. In இடத்துல E belongs to H கிடையாது. இதுல இருந்து implication தான் E belongs to H தவிர்த்து இதுக்குரிய காரணம் வந்து E is a member of G. Don't think that this இந்த இடத்துல இருக்கிற E belongs to H ன்னு அதனால இது வருதுன்னு. இது எதனால வருதுன்னா E belongs to G, so M1E is equal to M1. That in turn implies E belongs to H. That is the meaning. So since this is true, since this is true, E belongs to H, right? Why this is true? Because E belongs to G, always true. E identity element, so M1E should be equal to M1. So this H is non-empty. இது subgroup னு சொல்லணும்னா non-empty னு first சொல்லணும். அதுக்கு அப்புறம் என்னுடைய G finite னு இருக்குறதுனால closure மாத்திரம் வெரிஃபை பண்ணா போதும். closure வெரிஃபை பண்ணனும்னா என்ன அர்த்தம்? ரெண்டு எலிமெண்ட் எடுக்கிறேன், X Y belonging to H னு எடுக்கிறேன். நான் என்ன சொல்லணும்? க்ளோஷருக்கு XYயும் H குள்ள இருக்குன்னு நான் சொல்லணும். ஸோ இப்போ H குள்ள இருக்கணும் அப்படின்னு சொன்னா Hல இருக்கிற எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் இது மாதிரி சாட்டிஸ்ஃபை பண்ணாதான் இது போய் Hல உட்காரும். ஸோ மை ஜாப் now is to show that M1XY is equal to M1. Once I finish that, then my H will become, because closure alone is enough, because G is finite, H is a subcollection in that. So H is non-empty, we have said. You consider two elements X and Y in H. Then by the definition, ஒரு element H குள்ள இருந்ததுன்னா it should satisfy these conditions. So M1x is equal to M1, M1y is equal to M1. Now it can easily be proved that M1xy is equal to M1. How you consider LHS? This is what we want to have. So you consider M1xy. If M1x M1, so you have this being rewritten as M1y, and M1y is nothing but from this is M1. So very, very obvious that M1xy is equal to M1. So closure holds, and therefore H is a subgroup. So that is what my claim is, claim 3. Claim 4 la நம்ம என்ன பண்ண போறோம்னா, we are going to relate. So H being a subgroup of G, H being a subgroup of G, இது finite na இதுவும் finite. So you denote the order of H to be O of H. Now we are going to give a relation between this order of G and order of H. They are related in this way. That is my claim 4. Order of G யும் order of H யும் they are related in this way. Right? So இதை எப்படி establish பண்ண போறோம் அப்படின்னா, you know already that N stands for order of equivalence class of M. The technique what I said already, in the C of A G over N of A ஒரு 1-to-1 correspondence இருக்குன்னா, then order of this will be equal to this. இப்போ எனக்கு இதை நான் எப்படி view பண்ண போறேன் அப்படின்னா, N is equal to order of G by H ன்னு view பண்ண போறேன். So that இது என்னவா மாறும், order of G by order of H cross multiply பண்ணா இது. So இந்த N அப்படின்றது எதை குறிக்குதுன்னா, order of equivalence class of M. அப்போ இந்த equivalence class of M அப்படிங்கிற அந்த செட்டுக்கும் G by H அப்படிங்கிற செட்டுக்கும் ஒரு 1-to-1 correspondence. இதுல என்ன பண்ணுமோ அதே டெக்னிக். ஸோ இந்த கிளாஸ் எம்முக்கும் இந்த G over Hக்கும் ஒரு 1-to-1 correspondence இருக்குன்னு நான் சொல்லிட்டேன்னா, then number of elements will be the same. Automatically you will have claim 4. So it is the same technique that he is using here. The elements in G over H will behave in the same way the elements in this, the same thing, and vice versa. So and vice versa க்கு இதுங்க ரெண்டு ஈக்குவலா இல்லைன்னா அப்புறம் அது வரும் அப்படின்னு அங்க என்ன டெக்னிக்கோ அதே தான். So but very simply that we are going to finish this. So we prove this by establishing 1-to-1 correspondence between G over H and class M. So நம்ம என்ன பண்றோம், any two elements in G over H, they are equivalent. I mean they are equal. G by H ல I have G over H, அதுல ரெண்டு எலிமெண்ட், நிறைய எலிமெண்ட் இருக்கு. I am considering two elements, Hg and Hg dash. இது ரெண்டு ஈக்குவல்னு எடுத்துக்கிறேன். So Hg is equal to Hg dash னா, then what will happen? This I was saying in the previous classes also. This is an important result what you studied in BSc. Ha is equal to Hb if one only if AB inverse belongs to H. Too many times you would have come across this. AB inverse belongs to H. So here I have my Hg is equal to Hg dash. So G dash inverse belongs to H. That is missing. Just make a note of this. Another typos. G dash inverse belongs to H. அப்போ G dash inverse belongs to H னா H ல உள்ள எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் இது சாட்டிஸ்ஃபை பண்ணணும், இது சாட்டிஸ்ஃபை பண்ணணும். So what you have is M1 G dash inverse is equal to M1. So இதுல இருந்து what I can conclude is M1 G is equal to M1 G dash. Another correction. M1 G is equal to M1 G dash. So if in the M1 G is going to be, you go to your first discussion. இப்போ இது என்னன்னா, you will have in the M2G, in the M1 M2 லாம் don't think that we'll have to consider 1, 2, 4, 5, not like that. Generally you can consider any M suffix L and M suffix S. You can consider like this. So when I consider M2G, it is going to be some element again because of the first claim. So what we have here is we will denote this one as say some ML. இதை ஒரு ML அப்படின்னும், அது என்னன்னு நமக்கு தெரியாது, சஃபிக்ஸ் என்னன்னு தெரியாது, அதனால we should denote it as some ML, and this is some MS. This is true because of the result what we have established in claim 1, right? So M1G is equal to result இல்ல அந்த definition equivalence class குள்ள தான் இதுங்கெல்லாம் இருக்கு. அதனால definitely you can use this. ஏதோ ஒரு M1 ஏதோ ஒரு M2 லாம் கிடையாது, எல்லாமே சப்ளை ஆகுது எங்க இருந்துன்னா ஈக்குவலன்ஸ் கிளாஸ்ல இருந்து தான். ஸோ ML is equal to MS. அப்போ என்ன நம்ம இங்க பண்ணிருக்கோம் அப்படின்னா, when I consider hg and hg dash, இப்போ இந்த இதுக்கு கரஸ்பாண்டிங்கா இங்க கிளாஸ் mங்கற இந்த செட் இருக்குல, இதுங்க ரெண்டுத்துக்கும் தான நம்ம 1-to-1 கரஸ்பாண்டன்ஸ் எஸ்டாப்லிஷ் பண்றோம். அப்ப இந்த hg இருக்குதுன்னு சொன்னா அங்க parallel யார் இருப்பாங்கன்னா m1g. இங்க hd dash இருக்குது அப்படின்னு சொன்னா I will have for which some m1g dash. அப்போ இதுங்க ரெண்டு ஈக்குவல்னா இதுங்க ரெண்டு ஈக்குவல். So in the same way, if these two are not equal means you will get that these two are not equal. The behavior will be the same. So retracing the steps, we get a 1-to-1 correspondent. Retracing the steps ன்னு எதுக்கு சொல்றோம்னா we will have, இப்போ இது ரெண்டும் ஈக்குவல் எடுத்துட்டு இத மாதிரி சொல்றது, that is same as contrapositive statement. இதுங்க ரெண்டும் ஈக்குவல் இல்லன்னு சொன்னா இதுங்க ரெண்டும் ஈக்குவல் இல்ல அப்படின்னு எஸ்டாப்லிஷ் பண்றது. So it comes as a subproof. If time permits, you can elaborately write. Otherwise, as given here, you can write. Because that will always be true. You can just simply write retracing the steps. We get a 1-to-1 correspondence between G over H and class M. Upon number of elements, இதுல எத்தனை elements இருக்கோ அத்தனை elements இதுலயும் இருக்கும். So order of G over H is order of equivalence class of M, and this is nothing but n cross multiply. You get order of G is equal to n into order of H. Now comes the main part, that is order of H is P per alpha. Claim file then we are establishing that. So how are we going to prove this? See, the proof பண்றதுக்கு the technique what he is using is, see இப்போ ரெண்டு number equal இருக்கணும்னு சொன்னா in two ways that you can establish. One is, இதுங்க ரெண்டு பாசிட்டிவ் இன்டிஜர்னு உனக்கு தெரிய வந்ததுன்னா m divides n divides m அப்படின்றத சொல்லலாம். இல்ல எனக்கு அது என்னன்னு எனக்கு தெரியாது அப்படின்னு சொன்னா then m is, when positive or negative எல்லாம் தெரியாது அப்படின்னா m less than or equal to n less than or equal to m. So here, even though we know that P per alpha positive and order of H is also positive, we are not going to use this technique, but we are going to use this technique. See, whenever, you must be familiar with this, two sets equal சொன்னோம்னா என்ன பண்ணணும்? A is contained in B, B is contained in A. If they are finite abdina, one is contained in the other and both of them are of the same order. So equality between two sets எப்படி establish பண்றோம்? And then equality between two elements in a group. ஒரு ஸ்ட்ரக்சர்ல இருக்கணும், இல்லைன்னா பண்ண முடியாது. X equal to Y, Xங்கிறது ஒரு எலிமெண்ட் in a structure, Yங்கிறது இன்னொரு எலிமெண்ட், இதுங்க ரெண்டும் ஈக்குவல்னு சொன்னோம்னா XY inverse is equal to identity element. இதே அடிஷன் ஆபரேஷனா இருந்ததுன்னா x minus y is equal to 0 சொல்லுவேன். அதுக்கப்புறம் ரெண்டு ஃபங்க்ஷன் ஈக்குவல்னு சொன்னோம்னா டொமைன் கோடொமைன் அதுங்களுக்கு சேமா இருக்கணும் அண்ட் இமேஜஸ் சேமா இருக்கணும். ரெண்டு நம்பர் ஈக்குவலா இருக்கணும்னா இப்ப நான் சொன்ன கண்டிஷன். ஸோ ஈக்குவாலிட்டி அப்படின்னு வரும்பொழுது பிட்வீன் வாட்ங்கிறதுல யூ மஸ்ட் ஹாவ் கான்சன்ட்ரேஷன். ரெண்டு செட்டு கொடுத்துருக்காங்களா, ரெண்டு எலிமெண்ட் ஒரு ஸ்ட்ரக்சர்ல இருக்குதா, ஸ்ட்ரக்சர் இல்லாம இதை கொடுத்தாங்கன்னா இதை எஸ்டாப்ளிஷ் பண்ணவே முடியாது. ஃபங்க்ஷன் கொடுத்துருக்காங்களா, அதுங்க ரெண்டு நான் ஈக்குவல் சொல்லணுமா, இல்ல ரெண்டு நம்பரை ஈக்குவல்னு சொல்லணுமா? இந்த 4 கேட்டகரியில இங்க என்ன கேட்டகரி வருதுன்னா ரெண்டு நம்பர் ஈக்குவல் சொல்லணும். ரெண்டு நம்பர் ஈக்குவல் சொன்னோம்னா என்ன டெக்னிக் அவைலபிள் அப்படின்னா இந்த ரெண்டு டெக்னிக் அவைலபிள். இந்த ரெண்டு டெக்னிக் யூஸ் பண்றேன்னா இந்த டெக்னிக்கை யூஸ் பண்றேன். So my job now is to show that order of H is greater than or equal to P per alpha and order of H is less than or equal to P per alpha. So these two we are going to establish. How are we going to establish? So this is at the beginning itself we have made that P per alpha divides order of G. So order of G is m times P per alpha. Now P per R divides m, that also we have assumed at the beginning. So P per R divides m na in the m some k times P per R nu na எழுதலாம். இந்த m k times m I can write as k times P per R. So இந்த m இந்த இதால replace பண்ணினீனா you will get k P per R into P per alpha, which is written as k P power R plus alpha. So இப்போ இங்க இருந்து எனக்கு என்ன தெரிய வருது அப்படின்னா P per R plus alpha divides order of G. Very obvious. So P per R plus alpha divides order of G. அப்போ P per R plus alpha divides order of G na claim 4ல order of G is n times order of H ன்னு சொல்லியிருக்கோம். So this one will divide n into order of H. This is by claim 4. But by claim 2, what you have proved is P per R plus 1 does not divide n ன்னு சொல்லிட்டார். அப்போ P per 1 n divide பண்ணா P per R plus alphaவும் n divide பண்ணாது. அப்போ ஒரு நம்பர் இது ரெண்டுத்துல ஒன்னு டிவைட் பண்ணலன்னா வேற வழியே கிடையாது, இது இதை டிவைட் பண்ணி தான் ஆகணும். இந்த நம்பர் இதை டிவைட் பண்ணலன்னா generally. இது வந்து இது டிவைட் பண்ணி தான் ஆகணும். சரியா? ஸோ யூ ஹாவ் பி பார் ஆர் பிளஸ் ஆல்ஃபா டிவைடிங் ஆர்டர் ஆஃப் ஹெச். ஸோ ஒரு நம்பர் இன்னொரு நம்பர் டிவைட் பண்ணுது அப்படின்னா ஒன்று ஈக்குவலா இருக்கணும் இல்லை சின்னதா இருக்கணும். ஸோ திஸ் பி பார் ஆர் பிளஸ் ஆல்ஃபா, பி பார் ஆர் பிளஸ் ஆல்ஃபா, ஆல்ஃபா பத்தி என்னன்னு தெரியாது. ஸோ பி பார் ஆர் பிளஸ் ஆல்ஃபா ஷுட் பி லெஸ் தேன் ஆர் ஈக்குவல் டு ஆர்டர் ஆஃப் ஹெச். And the relation between p power r and p power r plus alpha is p power alpha is less than. இது வந்து you have the number to be less than, in the number p power alpha to be if I have my r, நம்ம ஆரம்பத்திலே சொல்லியிருக்கோம் r பத்தி நமக்கு என்னன்னு தெரியாதுன்னு. சரியா? so p power alpha is less than or equal to this அப்படின்னா you will have p power alpha to be less than or equal to order of h. அது மாதிரி ஒரு டிஸ்கஷன் இருக்கு. ஸோ இதை பார்க்கும்போது இன்கேஸ் இதுக்கு வந்து 0 இல்லை அப்படின்னு சொன்னாக்கா இப்போ ஸ்ட்ரிக்ட் இன்இக்வாலிட்டி தான் ஆகும் அப்படின்னா you don't consider this discussion. We have got another discussion which says that very obviously my p power alpha divides p power r plus alpha. And what my p power r plus alpha does? P power r plus alpha divides order of h. So if a divides b and b divides c, then a must divide c. Then a must divide c. So we shall use this argument. P power alpha divides p power r plus alpha. P power r plus alpha divides order of h. So p power alpha should divide order of h. அப்போ இந்த நம்பர் ஒரு நம்பர் ஆர்டர் ஆஃப் ஹெச் டிவைட் பண்ணதுன்னா ஈக்குவலா இருக்கணும் இல்ல சின்னதா இருக்கணும். ஸோ வி ஹவ் காட் ஒன் இன்இக்வாலிட்டி வி ஹவ் காட். இப்போ அடுத்த ஆர்டர் ஆஃப் ஹெச் இஸ் லெஸ் தென் ஆர் ஈக்குவல் டு பி பர் ஆல்ஃபா சொல்லலாம். ஸோ ஹவ் ஆர் வி கோயிங் டு ஷோ தட்? ஃபார் எவ்ரி m in m1 and h in h1 இல்ல, h1 ஒண்ணுமே கிடையாது இங்க, another typographic error. So you just write it. இந்த இடத்துல ஒரு மிஸ்டேக் இருக்குது. h belongs to h, கமா அது ஒன்னு மாதிரி போட்டு வச்சிருக்கு. So for every m in, இது m1 தான், h in h, mh belongs to m1. Where from we are getting this? We have got h belonging to capital H. அப்போ கேபிட்டல் ஹெச்ல இருக்கக்கூடிய எலிமெண்ட்ஸ்ல என்ன கண்டிஷனை சாட்டிஸ்ஃபை பண்ணுது? m1 ஒரு ஹெச்ங்கிறது அதுல இருக்குதுன்னு சொன்னா m1h must be equal to m1. So you have said that my small m belongs to m1, small h belongs to capital H. அப்போ இந்த mh it will be there in capital M1. So that's what is written here. So M1 definitely குறைஞ்சபட்சம் ஆர்டர் ஆஃப் ஹெச் எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் ஆன வச்சிருக்கோம். அதுக்கு மேல ஏதான வச்சிருக்கோம், let it have. But my claim is it should definitely have குறைஞ்சபட்சம் ஆர்டர் ஆஃப் ஹெச் எலிமெண்ட்ஸ். எதனால? எப்பெல்லாம் ஹெச் கேபிட்டல் ஹெச்ல இருக்கோ அப்பெல்லாம் MH will belong to M1 because of the definition of H. ஹெச்சோட டெஃபினேஷன் படி எப்பெல்லாம் ஸ்மால் ஹெச் இன் கேபிட்டல் ஹெச்சோ m1h, இந்த m1h is equal to m1ங்கிறது வந்து என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா my this one will belong to m1. So எத்தனை எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் ஸ்மால் ஹெச்ல இருக்கோ அத்தனை எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் நிச்சயமா m1ல இருக்கும். அவ்வளவுதான் இருக்குமான்னா அது எனக்கு தெரியாது. அவ்வளவான இருக்கும். ஹெச்ல எத்தனை எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் இருக்கோ அத்தனை எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் ஆனா அதுல இருக்கும். So how many elements that capital H has? P power alpha elements. So my m1 should have at least order of H elements. But m1 belongs to script m and that has p power alpha elements. So m1 la you have definite p power alpha elements and m1 la குறைஞ்சபட்சம் ஆர்டர் ஆஃப் ஹெச் எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் ஆன இருக்கும். அப்போ இதுங்க ரெண்டுத்துக்கும் உள்ள ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் என்ன அப்படின்னா ஆர்டர் ஆஃப் ஹெச் இது வந்து என்னத்தனுடைய ஆர்டர்? m1ஓட ஆர்டர். அது பெருசா இருக்கலாம் அல்லது ஈக்குவலா இருக்கலாம், எனக்கு தெரியாது. அதனால நான் ஈக்குவாலிட்டி கேன் ஆல்சோ கம். ஏன்னா இதுங்க ரெண்டும் அவ்வளோ எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் தான் அங்க அக்கௌண்டபிள் அப்படின்னும் பொழுது ஈக்குவாலிட்டி வரப்போகுது. அது இருக்கு, குறைஞ்சபட்சம் தான் இங்க சொல்றோம், ரைட்டா? அதுவே கூட ஈக்குவலா இருக்கலாம், இல்லைன்னா அதுக்கு மேலேயும் இருக்கலாம். அதுக்கு மேலேயும் இருக்குது அப்படிங்கிறச்சேதான் ஸ்ட்ரிக்ட்லி லெஸ் தான் நம்ம போகிறோம். Equal of course order of H is equal to P power alpha. So what we have here is order of H is less than or equal to P power alpha. From these two we conclude that order of H is equal to P power alpha. So G we have produced one subgroup. Adanudi order P power alpha we have established. So our conclusion is whenever P power alpha divides order of G, then G should have a subgroup of order P power alpha.